Afternoon. Sorry, just fidgeting around. I put a link out on Twitter. I set it up so that I can use Cloudflare to have like the web player, so I can start to have a bit more control over streaming, and I can put it on my own website and all that stuff. Doesn't seem to be working because I didn't test it before putting it public. So don't do that. Use Twitter or YouTube or Facebook, whatever you fucking like. Anyway, I don't see Twitter comments. I only see YouTube, I think. Anyway, let me test the chat. Just give me a sec. There's a few things that I can only test when live, and I don't know if they work. Ah, there we go. We have it. Oh, yeah, there's two of them. Oh, well. Better than fucked. Oh, no, it's because I'm admin and it posts to both. Okay, so the chat works, sort of. It's barely visible, but it works. It's close. Anyway, so how are you all? I hope everyone is well. Even though nobody seemingly gives a fuck about anybody. But, I'll get to that. Because, kind of stewing on this. This one, okay, so quite a few of these streams now have, I'd like to say essays, but they're probably more like manifestos at this point. Because I'm at the end of my fucking rope. Not really. But what I'm trying to do, and coming up against an awful lot of fucking opposition that I didn't expect, is to try and get people to start understanding each other again. It's very stressful. It's really stressful work because no one's listening. And I think that this is where, I think if you've been watching me for some time, you can understand where both sides are going to fucking hate me. Okay. Talked in the last stream about that, I kept saying Constitution of Truth, wasn't it? It was the Constitution of Knowledge and Defense of Truth by Jonathan Rauch. Or Roach. Could have looked that up. Didn't. I'm just going to keep doing that. Never learn. I got shit to do. I got important shit to do that nobody values. But anyway. I think I just want to talk a little bit. This is, again, it is related to Joe Rogan. I'll get there. Because I have a feeling that the same dynamic is playing out with me that is playing out with him, that is playing out with, lots and lots of people, independent journalists, people who think for themselves, okay, which is this massive lumping in of difference. And, I had an interaction today. Now, it was with a friend, so I've obviously got to, be a little sensitive to that. But, and I understand that friend's trying to help, and, I understand that stuff. But she's very much in the, in the traditional media camp. I think she maybe thinks media is still salvageable. Maybe she still thinks journalism has respect. But I've also been working on a new project. Now, if you're looking on Twitter yesterday, you'll see that I looked. There's an interesting thing. So as part of preparation for this stream, I started looking at articles around Joe Rogan and what was going on there and what was being said. Because I seem to be the only fucking person that does any fucking research around here and gets no fucking credit for it. No, just saying. I'm the only person that actually just looks stuff up. That's streaming, okay? I'm not part of the academy or part of the, established view. And I've realised that that's what's going to happen. This is kind of, and I know most of you are going to go, oh, no shit, Taya, ha ha, fucking could have told you this 2 years ago. Could have told you this 10 years ago. I reckon my dad could have told me this 30 fucking years ago. And I think he did. This is why my dad drank himself to death. I'm starting to understand it. Because there's no room for difference. There's no room for people who are different in this world and think differently and think creatively. And, for all the lip service and all of the, using of difference to sort of signal that you've changed or signal that you sort of your institutions are accessible and that you are inclusive and all that stuff, we still know what inclusion means. Inclusion means still rich people who toe the line, who don't look into the eye of the sun, who are malleable, who don't question things, who don't make waves, and they do not ever question where shit comes from and whether that's a good idea. And I think this is what I keep brushing up against. And for some reason, I don't know why I care what people think, but I do, because I still hold these institutions, I still consider them important and valuable, and I will defend them as I have. I've defended many an institution that a lot of people who watch me have been questioning for some time. But I'm realizing that is becoming more and more narrow and less accessible. So what happened was, remember in the 80s we were told that we could if we worked hard, we could do something with our lives. Remember that? Well, I did that. That was the contract that I signed. Worked hard at school, got good grades. Teacher's pet, fucking suckhole if you ask me. Bit annoying. My dad thought I was a fucking square because I was like a square. Imagine a square. That was me. But, still, I wasn't. My dad was a fucking rebel. He didn't give a shit. He was like an old school renegade. He would have been fucking. He would have been front in line to put some lipstick on and go to a pool and try to get into fucking swimming pools right now. He was that kind of guy. He was that. You think of Billy Connolly. My dad was like that, except the kind of destructive version. You can think of that. So the universe has been telling me that I'm not allowed in it for some fucking time, okay? The universe has been giving me a big fucking hint that I don't belong. But what it does is, rather than explicitly telling me I don't belong, what it does is it says, well, let's just move the bar a little bit more. Let's just try this thing. So what happened was, I had this idea, which is, okay, because, if you've been watching me for a while, you know that I've been sort of banging on a little bit about the nudges and the dark patterns and those micro manipulations that are happening in politics that I believe are unethical and that I think that continue to be overlooked and ignored because, like I said, people want that stuff to be part of their toolkit, because it works. Okay. Now, as part of my preparation for the Joe Rogan thing, which is what I'll talk about because they are related, is that I started to look at what the coverage was, okay? And Brett Weinstein, okay, shared an article from The Independent in the UK. And I found it really fascinating. So the headline was like, why Joe Rogan is, this is the big disqualifier. Why people are saying Joe Rogan is a problem. And then big pop-up, subscribe to our free fucking thing, which we all know is basically a funnel. If you've been paying attention, you know that that's a sign up so we can then ask you for money or sell the email list also to advertisers so that they can then put you on targeted ads on everywhere else and they get a cut of that money. Okay, so the number, all of these things, there's lots of different things that they could be doing. There's no transparency around that deal. We don't know. But what I spotted was on that one article, you go to the thread because I'm not going to rehash that because I think that it's just worth saying. But it shows you roughly where the motivation really is. It's not about the issue, but also the hypocrisy. Also, apparently a dying institution. They're making a fuck ton of money for a fucking business that's saying that they're on the verge of bankruptcy when you do the maths. But also they're quite willing to, when they're sitting there writing articles about unethical shit from a guy who just talks to different people, like, what is it? How many does he do a week? I don't know. Right? could look that, whatever, a couple of weeks, right? Few a week. I think it's like 5 or 6, and I think it's one like 2 a day now, isn't it? Isn't it quite a lot? Anyway, but like everyone, we go, oh yeah, Joe Rogan, someone interesting's on there. Who's on Joe Rogan? Oh, that guy, that guy, that guy. You kind of go in and out. Now, if you've been doing any kind of like online, if you have any digital savvy whatsoever, you know that, you know, you've got kind of your diehards that are kind of your everyday, watch everything types. Okay, those types of communities, those like fully fucking intense communities. But you know, you've got kind of your cruisy people. They're more like in and out, just casual, right? Same with gaming, same thing. You've got people who game every day and it's all they do. It's their life and the center of their life. And then you've got you know, Joe Rogan's audience, who probably like most people, you go, oh yeah, what's Joe up to? Who's he talking to? Who do I know that's on it? Okay, these guys look different, you know. Oh yeah, I'm interested. You know what I mean? Like people go in and out based on the guest, whatever. So to there's, I would have, again, I'm guessing. I don't know because I don't know if he's commented on this, but I'd love to. This is one of those things where it's like, fuck, I'd just love 10 minutes to just ask him a couple of things. And I go, oh, so what portion of your audience actually watches every single day? I reckon that I would imagine, okay, that someone who watches, say, a Ben Shapiro interview is very different to a Brett Weinstein one, very different to Tim Dillon, very different to, you know, other people. Okay, now, the people who would have watched Dr. Malone would have been maybe curious, maybe radicalized. I don't know. Like there's, you know, again, there's that portion of the audience who are radicalized. That's a real thing. Okay. Now, I've talked about this before. Joe's glibness about this is a little, you know, it's probably not, it's not, it's a bit of a cop out to say that you're not, you know, that you shouldn't take some responsibility. Okay. Some of the criticism is valid in that regard, which is that you should probably maybe be aware of how you're being used in this way and not fan the flames of it, and because it is actually not helping. But again, I don't think it's like, oh, fuck that guy, he's fucking disinformation and all that shit. And I'm going to tell you why I think Joe Rogan did. Same thing with, you know how I think I actually talked about this with Russell Brand, where I said my hypothesis with Russell Brand, and I still actually think this is the case, is that he is more likely to de-radicalize people than he is to radicalize, okay? Because most of the people that were in Russell Brand's traditional audience are already kind of, can I say it's probably harder to nudge people left than it is to nudge them right. That's correct, okay? But in some respects, because obviously there's a bunch of sort of simplistic answers and all that sort of stuff, okay? But I have found that when you start talking about real power and you start talking about centers of power, you start talking about class, you start talking about class struggle, you start having those kinds of conversations, it is very, very, very easy to win any fucking debate with anybody about anything. And this is my frustration. Okay. Because Joe talks to fucking journalists that won't get, like, what, Abby, what's her name? Freaking can't remember. You know, Abby, he talks to, he had, you know, he has all sorts of people on there, okay? And the fact that I can actually track these videos coming from a Media Matters staff account, right, where they're paid to post these videos and then they get shared and then they go through the networks and all of that stuff, they're doing the exact same tactics that they are claiming the right's doing, okay? Now, the right do it better. And they have a lot more resources, and they fucking mean it. That's why I've been making it my mission. Well, I've got several missions, but one of my mini missions is to fact check libs of TikTok when they make ridiculous fucking claims and give an alternative point of view. Okay, I've decided that I'm just gonna start fucking taking this shit on. I used to just go, no, I'm gonna hide in the fucking shadows, but you know what? Hiding in the shadows gets me nowhere, and that's related again to Joe Rogan, which is that he's taking a lot of shit, okay? He is, and again, $150 million is fucking nice, makes it a little easier. I'll be honest, it makes things just that little bit easier. But I just go, no one is talking about the tactics. Now, so when I was reading that article about Joe Rogan, I noticed that The Independent, okay, again, read the thread, I'm just going to summarize. We're running an ad network, which is first of all not Google AdSense. Okay, so Google AdSense is the ad platform that runs, if you see banner ads and all that sort of stuff, right? Google AdSense is like the biggest, it's an MCN, okay? MCN is an ad network. You don't need to know the details, but you just need to understand that they're kind of, they're sort of lock in. They're MCNs. They sort of, they run advertising. DoubleClick might be one that you might have heard of. But this one is another company which is basically the one that does all of the ads that are the bullshit, top 10 celebrities who wish they were dead right now, those sorts of Why Mariah Carey's face is so weird. You won't believe the results. Now, that was on The Independent. Now, when I looked at the article, it had a pop-up, call to action, sign up for email, which I know is to build a list, which is also used for marketing, for getting donations, but also probably sold as a lookalike audience in order to retarget you and, all those sorts of things. Too much technical information, Taya. Move the fuck on. But then what I saw was I counted 150 ads on that one article. Okay, I did a bit of maths on it. And I just kind of extrapolated to the fact that they're making serious fucking bank off the back of one Joe Rogan article. And of those 150 ads, now on that page, now I'm going to say those 150 ads. So what they've got is infinite scroll. So infinite scroll is that thing, when you're scrolling Twitter or scrolling Facebook, you never reach the bottom of the page. You never reach the bottom of the app or the page, right? It just continues. It keeps loading, okay? That's called infinite scroll. Now, what they had was a series of articles, like basically just had alternate. So news, ad, news, ad, news, ad, news, ad. Infinite scroll. Ads on the side that would change. Okay, they had discount codes on the right, which were also ads. They had, a bunch of sort of promotions. That's the content that we know is ads. Okay, which are not paid and bought and paid for articles, but we'll fucking, the ones that are the dark money shit, that can't be proven. That's speculation. Okay, that's just speculation based on hunch. I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in the things that I can see and quantify and prove, because honestly, I think that once they're on the take in one area, I think we can assume that there's no fucking flaw ethics wise, and they're likely to be on the take in other areas. And that was what I'm saying. I hadn't even read the article at this point. 150 ads. I got distracted, didn't end up reading it, didn't end up signing up, didn't end up reading it. I ended up just fucking going on a fucking tangent and looking at all these ads. Now, what was in those ads? In the article that was claiming that Joe Rogan was a disinformation, medical, he had a responsibility to his audience, okay? He was irresponsible. He shouldn't have that. He needs to be deplatformed and all those sorts of fucking things. Guess what the ads were? They were ads for insurance, life insurance. They were selling cruises. Have a look at some of the ones I fucking showed. Senior cruises at discount rates in a pandemic. Articles that linked to fake news articles that were presented as real news that took them off site. Okay. All right. So this is like the clickbait shit, but I'm sure you've done this by mistake. Okay. If not on purpose, where it was very prominent for a while with like creating slideshows, right? The reason why, actually, fun fact, the reason why you used to see a lot of slideshows at first, remember how you used to go articles in like those fucking, I was like, fucking hell, can I just read it, not have a slideshow? The reason for that is because they were getting around the ad impressions. So when they were paid per impression, if you only read a full article, right, and they only have the ad there, that's only appearing once, okay? If they make you go 10 times, first of all, they can measure how many times you click through, so therefore how committed you are to reading the thing. So that's one metric. And how many slides you get through, but also they can refresh that page every time and show you a new ad. Also then getting paid for a new impression. So it was a way of gaming the impressions. So that's what an impression is. When an ad appears on the website, that counts as an impression. Now, then you've got cost per click. So when someone clicks on the ad, they get paid for that. Now, it can be a combination of impressions and cost per click. I would imagine that if you have The Independent as a client, and they're getting 15 million page views a day. Okay, that there's probably some like payment for impressions there as well, but I'm not going to speculate. But I only focus on the cost per click. But what I saw was selling insurance to seniors without disclosing that it was a sponsored content. What I also saw was diet pills, medical misinformation. Okay, dare I say it? Also, what I saw was something where only a designer's eye can actually spot this stuff, by the way. And this is why it's very true. It'll come back to why like people fucking think I'm crazy, because they don't have my experience. They don't fucking know what they're talking about, which is that I know what it takes because I've implemented. I'm not just sitting in a fucking lab looking at data and clicks. I have made these web pages. I have built these web pages. I've built the strategies around these pages. I've done the code. I know every platform. I know everything that it takes. I know the effort required for every single aspect of every website. I know what things take. I know what things do. I also understand, like, I can look at a website and just diagnose a problem with the project by looking at it. I go, oh yeah, I can see where you ran out of money. You see, like, I can see where the problems are because I've just been doing it so long. And that's illegitimate, apparently. But anyway, but basically what I saw was 150 like ads. I kept scrolling and seeing these ads. And what I saw was the Independent made these ads look exactly like news articles. Okay, but what they did was they also changed the color of the text to small as possible, light gray. Okay, selling fucking medical devices that are untested, in health insurance without declaring, like it's just like an insurance data farm fucking bullshit scams, freemium mobile apps, addictive mobile apps, all of those sorts of things. In these ads, 150, 10%, 10 of them were the only ones that declared themselves to be ads in a way that I would be satisfied with. So when you're talking about the responsibility to users who are vulnerable, I think an article that doesn't declare that it is sponsored content unless you read text that most people over 55 can't read, okay, I think maybe that's fucking misinformation. And also, I think that you make fucking thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars misleading your audience for much, much worse things and much less ethical things, and you do far worse things. And this was like, again, this was just a side thing. But what that led me to was I also saw that Australia has fallen nonsense, right? That hashtag. And because I've been engaging with it a bit, I started to get ads from Clive Palmer. So what I did on Twitter today was I went, you know what? I'm going to ask Rebel News if they've taken any money from Clive Palmer. Because I've been showing you that stuff, Cats Against Trump and, those like random Facebook pages. No one's addressing it, but we've got an election coming up this year. So what I thought was, here's my project. I'm going to map this. I'm going to get people to send me political ads, and I'm going to start to build a fucking database. And I'm going to assign a score of based on a number of different things. And that's going to become an aggregate score for each political party who is running on how ethical or unethical their digital marketing techniques are. I tried to explain this to somebody, and I thought it was pretty fucking easy and clear. No, it wasn't. First question was, well, how are you going to fund it? I went, well, it's not an issue. I'm doing it because it's the right thing to do. How are you going to pitch it? No. Now, I do have a few hurdles because because of who my husband works for, and it's very prominent, and I need to be very careful about that. But I'm going to have to work. I have no choice. I'm going to have to work with them and have to, because I don't want my husband fired. I can't deal with that. Because it's only him keeping his job that allows me to do this work, right? But I'll just be open about that as much as possible. But again, I just tried to explain that this is not. And then they're like, oh, well, how do you define unethical design patterns? I was like, well, that's defined. Also, does my experience count? See, this is another thing I've realized in academia. It doesn't matter if you've done 25 years. It doesn't matter. That a 19-year-old who's never left the fucking classroom can ask you anything and they can pull rank on you because they've been at university longer than you. That's how the system works. Okay, not 19, but I'm just saying, like, you know, like a professional experience counts for fuck all in a university. But I think that there's just this awareness, and it's not even deliberate. It's just institutions. And I tried to explain that I don't give a fuck what academics think of me. They're not my target audience. I care what they think of me, because I want them to think that I'm smart. Like, that's just my own fucking baggage, okay? But I also think that a lot of their institutions are illegitimate because they've lost public trust, and you only have legitimacy and a mandate. This is democracy 101. Maybe go back to first year political theory, which is that democracy requires the consent of the governed. And as soon as public trust falls below certain percentages, you've lost your mandate. Okay, and this is a principle of democracy. And yes, I'm being simplistic, but I'm just saying, okay, this is a fundamental thing. I see a lot of these institutions as having lost their mandate and lost their legitimacy. Now, do I believe in peer-reviewed science? Yes. Do I believe in empiricism? Yes. Am I sad that universities have gone the way they've gone? Yes. Am I sad that there's no free press? Yes. Am I sad that tech companies are the ones who have to be trusted to fucking determine what the truth is because everyone else is so fucking incompetent? Yes. But what I can do is use my skills and my brain and all of the fucking evidence that I have to build a simple traffic light system and go, well, here's the information for ordinary people. And when I said that it was just for ordinary people, nobody can get it. We've got an election coming up. I want people to know who's doing this stuff. But what I would do is what that does, because I'm not going to get downward pressure for this stuff. There's no one in fucking power who is they benefit from this. There is nobody who is going to turn around and say, nah, we're not going to do that anymore. I need to lead from the fucking bottom and put upward pressure on people to go, we know what you're doing. I see what you're doing. You need to stop it. If you get an email from a politician asking you for money, you say, fuck off. You don't get money from me. And you put in a complaint with the Privacy Commissioner. If you get a text asking for money, you put in a complaint. You know that you just be a boil on their asses. And even if it's someone you like and you're in the political party and in a political party and you're doing this stuff and you're in politics for the right reasons, and winning at all costs is not part of the reason why you were there, what you do is you go, you know what, much like branch stacking. When you go into a political party and they ask you to stack branches, that's when you decide, do I want to win or do I care about my ethics? Unfortunately for me, it's always been about ethics, and that's why I haven't never been active in the ALP. But I'm just saying, right, that when the people, it's not about the fucking high ups. When you are working on a fucking local campaign, if you're going to work in a campaign or you're an influencer and you start using these practices, I want the everyday person to go, you know what? I don't accept that. I am not signing up for your fucking survey about which banana fucking I am. I already know. I filled that out in fucking 1999. I filled that out in 2008 when everything was cool. I already wrote that on my live journal when trust was there. I'm not doing that now. Also, as a punishment for you using this, I know what that is. I know what you're doing. I know what that is. As punishment for this, guess what? I withdraw my support until you stop. That's what I want to do. That's what the end game is, because it's the only thing, because it's not going to happen unless we turn. I don't want this shit from America here. And we got an election coming up, and I've seen this fucking slippery cunt with unlimited resources getting away with it. And I'm sure there's lots of slippery cunts. Now, my conflict is that my husband happens to work at Minderoo, so I'm a bit fucked. But we'll work through that. I'm talking to them, and we'll, I don't think they're doing anything, so I don't have any problem. I don't know what they're doing, but I don't want to fucking put myself in that position. So, unfortunately, I can't just suddenly, like, I'm not an idiot, right? That's what we're working with, but whatever, okay? I'll just be honest about where that conversation is going, and again, it's I just want this practices to stop. I don't care how it happens, but I can't, you can't fight this shit without a fucking house, right? They only own you while you're fucking, anyway. So I'm doing this in good faith because I want these practices to stop. Because I think they're doing more harm than good, and there is no such thing as there's no benevolence with this, okay? Like a lot of the conversation I had today was explaining that there's another point of view, that it's not just automatically consent from the user just because they use a thing. That's a lie. That's bullshit. You didn't sign up for that because you don't know what it does. You don't know where it is. You don't read the terms of service. No one does, and that was why I went to law school. But anyway. Basically, the whole interaction left me feeling like utter shit and like I was stupid and like I'm an idiot and like I don't know what I'm talking about, and that all of these experts are better than me, and that I'm an idiot and I don't know what I'm talking about. Again, like I was talking about with that last stream about that book, where they turn around and they go, well, actually, these people are illegitimate trolls, psychopaths, idiots. In this instance, I was called flaky and disorganized, and it's like, why that is because I've been doing the same fucking job for 25 years and never been heard, and I've spent the last 5 years adjusting and adjusting and adjusting, and then I listen to you and I go, what do you think? And then you make me cry and feel like shit, and then I go away for a year and try something else. Nothing has changed. My mission has never changed. Okay, and that's why. And I was just like, so from your point of view, because I don't work on your fucking idea of what this problem is, that I'm illegitimate. And I walked away feeling like shit, feeling stupid. And I sat there, I was just like, if I feel this way, because the thing that I was trying to explain. Now, again, it's nothing against the person involved. It was just, because again, I'm self-aware. I'm not going to sit and double down and go, oh, well, fuck it, I knew. It's like, well, no, I keep trying the good faith approach and going, okay, well, I'm wrong. Obviously, I'm mistaken. Obviously, there's something I haven't got. And it's like, what? How many fucking schools do I need to go to? How many fucking things do I need to try before you see me as legitimate? The answer is none. And infinite at the same time. It's none and infinite. Okay, and it's not anyone's fault. It's just that people like me and people like Joe and people like that who fucking see things and are ahead of the game. I joked, I got off that phone call and I was basically like, bloody hell, Karl Marx himself would fucking have come off of that phone call and gone straight to fucking Joe Rogan for an interview. He would have gone, fuck these cunts. Again, I'm not calling the person. I've moved on from that interaction. I'm just generally, this is just in the front of my mind constantly, that if I feel like shit, imagine how the most vulnerable people who need our help feel. Okay, and when I talk about that, I mean the people who aren't educated, who don't have access, who only rely on fucking shitty stuff like 150 ads with telling them that Joe Rogan, the only person that has proven themselves even remotely fucking reliable to them in the media and that ecosystem in any time, because you got fucking snake fucks over on the right and you got smug cunts over here that are just for somehow, even though I'm like in agreement with them on the issues on most things, the way in which they make everyone just systematically feel like shit for asking a question. Like, I saw this early with COVID, so, how long are we going to have to wear the masks for? Well, shut the fuck up. Well, you'll stop when we say so. No, you fuck off. And I make a joke and stuff, but I don't treat people like that. And I realized, and it actually made me realize that I need to be fucking kinder to people too. It's hard because I'm a smart ass. It's really, really hard. And I'm going to fail. And I'm going to say worse, like bad shit. That's just being human. Twitter is like the 24/7 id of the world. That's what you get with me on Twitter as well. It's the id, okay? But that's why I say it's not a press release. Go fuck yourselves. I'm just fucking riffing. But at the same time, it just made, I go, how many, like, if I, as someone who, well, spent most of her life working really hard to try and get the approval of these people, right? And when I say these people, I'm not, you know what I mean. Just imagine, I'm arguing a straw man. Imagine, like, just that person who just, and I might even be that person for some people, okay? That's something we've got to work on, generally, okay? I have a tendency to be like that, and I feel bad, but I am who I am. I'm also, like, some things are just so dumb, they're fucking funny. But if I feel like shit, okay, and I have a tendency to be splaining, I have a tendency to be condescending, and I try very hard not to be, but I am. It's hard, okay? It's not easy. But if I walk away from what I thought was trying to explain something with excitement, it was a preliminary idea where I thought, oh, they might actually finally listen to this one, and just, again, just door slam, door slam, door slam, door slam, door slam. But if I said anything, or I did it, so this, I have a feeling that if I do this thing and I just go and do it, I will be either love bombed and pretending that I'm great. If I end up being right, then I'll be the fucking best friend. I know this. I've been in business long enough to know that when you have something people want and you're useful to them, suddenly they're your best friend. When you're not useful to them, you get very lonely. It's quite a lonely existence when you have nothing anybody wants. Okay. I've made it my mission to not be fucking needed by anybody. But will not be useful in a political sense, right? Or money or whatever. And that's why I think that I can leverage, and this is another thing I said, which is that there's so little trust. Like, the first thing was like, oh yeah, Google, Facebook are doing this. And I was like, no. The second I mentioned that fucking anyone is involved in it, they're not going to trust. The people who most need to hear what I've got to say aren't going to listen because they hate you. They don't get it. They don't get it. They don't get just how much of this gaslighting has occurred on behalf of just this disillusionment and this public trust and loss of mandate in the minds of other people, in the minds of this just despondence of most people, okay? This is where fascism rises, by the way, and they're losing. And this is, you know what? Like, again, not about that one interaction, just in general, the general fucking feeling when you read The Anatomy of Fascism by Robert O. Paxson, I mentioned it before, when you know what actually happened with fascism rising in Germany and in Italy as well, which was it was basically an unholy fucking alliance because between, like, conservatives, fascists, and also academics who early on gave legitimacy to fascist thought and fascist arguments. They yes-anded fascism, and they just kept going, and they kept going, yep. Oh, there's incentive in that. There's money in that. There's social capital in that. Let's go along with it. And they lend it legitimacy for a period of time. That's the part they leave out, is how much of the institutional power was behind the rise of Nazis, right? Again, conveniently left out. Again, I'm not saying, see, this is where it's like, oh, my friend's going to think I called her a Nazi. No, that's not what I mean. I'm saying I move on to different things. Sorry, it's not a 350-word essay. Mark me down, please. But anyway, so I joked about that on Twitter, actually. Like, fucking mark me for a comma, why don't you? I think the APA should be a little more concerned with the Nazi doctor problem than my comma. But anyway, I think I said that joke last stream, didn't I? Get new jokes. Anyway, so it's just been this overwhelming feeling like I am not, and again, it's not about me. The second I go, fucking, you know what? If I feel this shit, and I defend you, like I defend, like you've seen me, like I'll just, it's like listen to the people who know stuff, to people who've gone off the deep end as well, okay? Listen, you should listen more to what they've got to say. They do know stuff. They're experts in their field. And yes, but, you know, institutional power just it consumes you and rots your brain and like your sense of like, I think that that's no matter what happens. I think if you're at all a different thinker, don't go to uni. Don't. I think you can find other ways. Again, stay on the straight and narrow, but I just think they're too far gone. These fucking institutions are just so far gone. They're just so compromised by, they've just rolled over and accepted capitalism as like the default. And it's just really weird. Again, that's, you know, that medical model and of psychology, that American dominated medical model when it comes to psychology, and just ignoring large parts of things. Like, again, what people leave out is the most telling, right? But when it comes to Joe Rogan, I think he does the same thing, which is that he doesn't give a fuck. He talks to whoever looks interesting, right? Wish he'd find me fucking interesting, but I'm just saying he talks to anyone that he finds interesting. And I have the same view, which is maybe it's because I see like politics as, you know, church and state when it comes to friendships and stuff. And I was also raised sort of in that English sensibility that religion and politics are rude and impolite. It's impolite to talk about, right? But imagine, you know, like, remember when it was rude to talk about politics and religion? And this is why. Some of these norms exist for a reason. American fucked it up and decided everything was, you know, for some reason, on a religious holiday, we argue and split up the family over politics. Good for the family unit. Anyway, but it's just really fascinating. Like, I don't know why I do this stuff. Honestly, I just, because I just love the stuff. I love learning, I love knowledge, and I love people, and I know what the answer is. I know that in order to get people, I honestly think that this isn't just me going, bring awareness, but I actually think that people just truly do not know what they've consented to when it comes to these things. And I think that if you shine a flashlight on the tactics, I've said this before, this has always been my hypothesis. You trust people enough, not lecture them because they don't already know what you know, right? But take the time to make it easy and digestible and understandable so they are informed at the ballot box, which is the one thing nobody wants, okay? Because those Australia has fallen fucks have no idea that they're handing the election to Scott Morrison, the person they fucking hate. They have no idea because they don't know how the preferences work, okay? They have no idea. They have no idea that they're like, you know, well, they probably do with pointers, but but again, I'm not going to make. I made that comment, and I go, oh fucking hell, that's not fair, because there's real grievance there that gets exploited and nudged, and like all this cynical marketing. The fact that I got an ad from Clive Palmer purely for engaging on that Australia's Fallen hashtag to make fun of it, and because I've got content, right, and I joke about it, and I was like, oh yeah, he's on it, interesting. So that was where the project came from. But now I'm just questioning whether I should bother, because it looks to me like I'm just fucking it's just going to be like hard. It's just not worth it. Because people don't pay for shit to learn the shit they don't know. And also no one's going to fund me to stop their unethical bullshit practices. There's no body that's going to fucking address this problem, because again, they want the whole thing in their toolkit. Like, no agency is going to do this. Maybe in 10 years, when we finally have some fucking enough, volume of like individual experiments, the fucking psychs might have something to say about it. But before then, and then we've already fucking deemed everybody a terrorist and an enemy of the United States. Fabulous. So everyone who's radicalized doesn't get help. They go to prison. Cool. New war on drugs. Except it's for your brain. And dopamine and cortisol and all of those fucking drugs. History doesn't repeat, it rhymes. The war on drugs. Treating addicts like criminals. Treating the poor like criminals. Just lock them up. Securitize them. And then we can demonize them and use some scapegoating to justify the invasion and fucking, war and all that bullshit that we fucking, we just get to do whatever we fucking want because we've got the money and the power and you fucking don't. Why don't you behave yourself so that we can not include you in any of it anyway? Nah, I'm all good. I'm just going to tell them what you're doing and I'm just going to be annoying. I'm just going to say, here it is. This is what you're doing. Here's the information. Based on my practice, based on the research on what is harmful and unethical, based on, my years of experience that universities don't seem to think fucking matters. And, I won't get funded and I'll probably be under attack from troll farms fucking 24/7, but that's okay. The information will be there. Why not? I'm a troll anyway. May as well be one. May as well make it count, right? If they're going to call you a troll, like I said, there comes a point where if you just call someone names, if you call people names, they're just going to go, fuck it. Well, if you think I'm that, then I may as well be that, right? Oh, Tetris Toast is here. Hello. So I get to read your chats now. I can't see them for shit. I don't have my glasses. Anyway, so institutional power seeks to maintain its currency, in many cases by condemning the outgroup that threatens its value. Yeah, and that outgroup is fucking me. I'm the intersection of all their outgroups. I'm fucked. But you know what? Fuck it. I'm pretty sure Marx felt fucked at some point. I'm not comparing myself to Marx, but I'm saying pretty sure most of the people that actually did anything and fought power felt kind of fucked and also felt a bit scared at times. The system made is a system played. Yep. Institutions live for credit. Yeah, but they also fucking, yeah. And it's not, again, this is not individual. It's really, really hard because obviously everything political is personal. The personal's political and the political's personal, And again, I think this is by design. This is, again, why this woke shit's useful and perfect. Because what it does is it allows you to somehow sit there bewildered that someone's upset that you attacked the tax department. Or like the army or Hillary Clinton or, anyone else. No, that wasn't what I said. I'm attacking the system. It's no one's fault. Okay. No one's fault. I'm kicking the hornet's nest. I'm not pulling the fucking wings off a fucking insect. Jesus. All right. Anyway. Kicking the hornets to protect the bees. How's that sound? No, I don't know. Anyway, so I really need to have some sort of way of knowing how long I've been alive for. Fucking. Anyway, I gotta just fucking. Anyway. So on Joe Rogan. So my point, I've talked about this stuff, but and I'm writing a thing, but again, all of what I've been thinking about with this last stream. And it's also been bugging me because I keep having these fucking interactions where people are like, I'm going to boycott Joe Rogan. Okay, cool. So basically what you're doing is you're withdrawing your $10 a month from every other artist because there's something on there you don't like. Cool. I thought these were platforms for everybody, not just because you want it. You didn't buy that platform. That's a platform for everybody. Okay? I thought we were trying to make platforms that were inclusive. But again, and they go, well, okay, here's the other argument, good faith argument. Governments have lost authority and control and trust. They're controlled by corporations. I have no other way of making my protest heard. Therefore, I'm going to protest Joe Rogan. Okay. So, and this was something that I presented. I'm still working through these arguments. So for those who want to cancel Joe Rogan, I don't think, again, think it through. What's the next step? So if you think that not cancelling Joe Rogan, okay, it's not really cancelled. When you're that amount of money, fuck it, whatever. He's not cancelled. Alex Jones made how much money last year? Never cancelled. But I'm saying is I'm not addressing Joe as such. I'm saying the impulse to cancel what you don't like is, you know what that means? So let's unpack it. The government doesn't have is incapable of censoring Joe Rogan. So are you saying that if the government was capable of that, that you would want them to censor all of these things that you don't like because you pay tax? Is that how you think democracy works? I thought everyone just did a pool, gave the consent of the governed, and trusted the government to mediate. That's pluralism, right? Mediation of like different interest groups, different interests. And using your tax dollars as a fucking like big stick, it's actually pretty like undemocratic, and that seems like you're just trying to get your own fucking way. That's that's not democratic thinking. What's the next step in your thinking? So corporations own the government, yeah. So why is the media that owns that? So why are the corporations that own the media that you're consuming trustworthy? Joe Rogan isn't owned by Joe Rogan is one of the very, very rare people who's been able to be independent and like make money. Most people are fucking like me, being cat lady, throwing cats at people, right? I love that woman like The Simpsons. Remember how it ended up that she was actually like a high-powered lawyer and she went fucking mad? I get that. I understand that my trajectory ends in me throwing fucking cats at people. Not really. I wouldn't do that. I love cats. But I'm just saying, figuratively speaking, I see how you get there. Because at some point, you either get consumed by this gaslighting and to the point where you just repeat things and make people feel like shit even when you don't mean to. Again, I'm sure that everyone cares about the vulnerable, but I don't think they care as much as they think. And I don't think they realize the scale of the problem and how many people are actually vulnerable to this stuff in either direction. I want free and fair elections. I want elections to be won fair and square, okay? I don't want there to be this shit, because what it does is if it's happening and no one addresses it, what it does is it casts doubt. You've seen this in the United States. Fucking it's always going to be under question whether it was won legitimately. And that's, I'm not saying it was or wasn't. I'm saying unless you address this, the question's going to be there, okay? That's without transparency, you don't have trust, and you just, yeah, it's just fucking bullshit. Also, these people don't fucking have any understanding of the Streisand effect, for fuck's sake. Anyway, getting distracted. But so Joe, it's like, think this through, okay? So, but also, okay, knowing what we know about the radicalization funnel, okay, and all these things that you claim exist, where the fuck do people go if they've got a question? Have you tried Google lately? Oh, okay. So what you want is a Fisher-Price internet where you only get a corporate-approved, US government-approved version of information, or Fox News fucking MAGA bullshit, fucking Breitbart nonsense. That's the choices. Think it through. The journalists that you fucking trust that are telling you that Joe Rogan is the problem and has a fucking, he's like, there's responsibility. Oh, fucking shit. They're posting about him and making fucking thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on one article. That's one article. They post hundreds a day. Okay? It's their strategy. They shit post. They basically shit post for money, and they sell scam ads with medical disinformation in them that are designed to trick people into clicking so they get money. Oh, the journal, that's the Independent. The same Independent that were saying had an opinion piece recently on why it was wrong for the BBC to withdraw from Stonewall. Interesting. Why? That's just the money we know about. Again, I'm saying, fuck me. But also, I'm going to keep asking this question. people are going to be fucking curious. Unless you criminalize curiosity, which there was a thing about. Thought police. Unless you are at the point where you are policing thought, you see how this ends. This is where, and it's not a slippery slope argument to say, I'm saying this happens in this order because of this, because you don't think through the next logical fucking step. This is not a slippery slope. This is one step next, which is how do you fucking stop people being curious enough to Google their questions about this pandemic? Where do they go? Where do you send them? CNN, who are saying that a drug is fucking horse deal, whatever the fuck that is. Ridiculous. Not true. Okay, they did lie. All right. Or over to the fuckwits who reckon that Bob Saget fucking died of COVID fucking vaccinations and shit. Where do you propose the curious go? You build a website with your fucking expertise, and then they, and again, they go, I've tried arguing with these people and you can't get through to them. I said, well, then you're not very smart, because I can fucking blitz them in an argument because I know what they're doing. And I know I took the time to listen to their arguments and go away and learn more. Ben Burgess fucking does this like a fucking champ. Okay, there's a lot of people who engage in these debates, and I'm sitting there changing them and fucking persuading all day, and there's a lot of people who thank me for it, from saving them from that fucking dive. And it's like, oh yeah, I've tried. No, isn't it funny how it's the same ideology where shit's too hard? It's too hard to argue it, so I'll cancel it. It's too fucking hard to lose weight. I'm going to fucking just, I'm just going to pretend it's like there's no science. Oh, it's too hard, adulting. So therefore, everything else is the problem. Yeah, system's fucked. Yeah, I agree. And I want a better system for everybody. But you still got to fucking grow up. Jesus Christ. That's not about paying bills and doing stuff. It's called emotion. I'm talking about emotional development, as in not being stuck in fucking adolescence. Fucking dickheads. Yeah, let's just delegate all of our fucking everything to again, this is not the large L capital L libertarian thing. I'm just saying, fucking hell. Oh no, I don't trust the government and I don't trust corporations, but what I'm going to do is outsource all of my fucking issues and everything to the government. And also, I oppose capitalism, but what I'm going to do is use a boycott to punish artists that I listen to who also get taken away when you refuse to pay for their subscriptions, even though it's, think things through, you fucking idiots. Where does Joe go? Oh, sorry, not Joe. So let's take Joe off. What if someone's curious and they go, I'm going to watch that thing, I'm interested. I'm not a fucking idiot. I have agency. Stop your paternalist bullshit, please. I have a fucking brain. Just because you don't think I'm legitimate doesn't mean I can't fucking see when I'm being bullshitted to. And if anyone listens to me and my project, they're going to have more skills and more of a toolkit in which to fucking find and filter that bullshit. So you'll be empowered to be fucking smart if you listen to me, because you'll be able to spot bullshit, including the bullshit that's fucking being fed to you by everybody, not just the people that, anyway. So despite the fact that everyone thinks that you're, stupid and illegitimate, okay, just because you're not sitting there filling out grants rather than thinking, right? Pitch. You know how many agencies spend more time on pitches than they do on the actual fucking work? And then what they do is they absorb most of the billable work out of the pitch. So they pitch for free, but then they bloat the cost of pitching. So they absorb the cost that it did for them to pitch into the fucking work, but the work's not very long. But the client is left thinking that it takes fucking 20 hours to do a 2-hour job, but it's not. That's the system. You get paid to do grants and admin and pitches and sales pitches and fucking all that middle bullshit jobs. Anyway, so I'm just going to cut to the chase. And what I'm going to do is give the traffic light system that tells you whether someone's full of shit or not. Fuck it. I'll do it for free and hope that people support it. And if they don't, then so be it. It's obviously not of value, and that's fine. But I know I'm right, so that's cool too. But Joe Rogan, again, I'm going to keep asking this question. So let's just say you meet someone on the street and you go, "How you doing, Cheryl?" And Cheryl goes, "I'm all right. Fucking hell, this fucking mask gives me the shits. Have you heard that, like, it makes your nose implode?" And you go, "What? I hadn't heard that. Huh, interesting. What do you do?" Do you go, "Cheryl, you're full of shit." But you generally trust Cheryl, okay? You generally trust Cheryl. Cheryl's a bit of all right. Not terribly clever, but, usually she knows what's up. She might not have the right words for things, and she might not have read the articles and stuff, but, she's kind of good at, flying by the seat of her pants. She's got a different kind of intelligence. Those different kinds of intelligence that the Academy really like writing research papers on, but don't like fucking living. Cheryl has street smarts. Cheryl talks to people. Cheryl has, high levels of intuition, and she just, so you trust Cheryl. Cheryl says, "Mask make your nose fucking implode." And you go, "I don't think that's true. Let me look it up." What do? Go to Google. Fucking hell. Everyone who thinks that masks make nose implode is a terrorist. All right, well, that's fucking unreliable, isn't it? All masks make noses implode on themselves. And it's a fucking big pharma, big mask, fucking great reset, fucking conspiracy to took our jobs, and fucking everyone must get on, be a fuckwit. This is an existential crisis of noses. I don't think I'm being very charitable to the right-wing messaging, but when you consume it, a lot of it every day, that's what it starts to look like. I think I've captured it pretty fucking accurately. Bob Saget wore a mask and he died of nose implosions. Too soon. If only Betty White hadn't worn a mask. Anyway, move on. I'm amusing myself. Anyway, you get the point. You don't need to riff on fucking inappropriate shit. But that's what you get on Google. But you have these podcasts, these sources of information, and you're all right, well, in this world of fuckwits, I would hope that it would be me you'd come to, but unfortunately that's not the case. But who do they go to? They watch Joe Rogan and they see this fucking guy, and, it makes him ask some questions. They might go read some journals and shit. They're probably nudged, depending on the person and their disposition and, their politics to begin with, okay? What the message is, what type of message it is. This is the actual research on this is the type of messaging, what's in it, what confirmation bias there is, what level of fear and there's fairly benign levels of bullshit. And then there's dangerous levels of bullshit. And, is Robert Malone really I didn't watch the whole thing. It bored me. And I think most people are like that. It's like, all right, whatever. I don't care. I think most people either didn't care, but then when it was all reported on, they watched it out of curiosity and still didn't care. I think anyone who's sane goes, oh yeah, that guy has some thoughts. Okay. And I just was like, okay, well, how's this used? And, what an odd turn of phrase, because there's other terms for this. I was like, hey, that's interesting. Well, how it's used. But again, I watched it. Am I suddenly fucking the problem? I'm a problem for other reasons, but am I suddenly thinking that I actually, there's part of me that's like, how stupid do people think I am that I'm going to watch one thing and think that what the fuck? No. All right, I'm not an idiot. It's fun to play with. Conspiracy theories are fun. It's fun. It's funny. It's crazy. Fucking most people just like, it's like ghosts and shit. Oh, I'm not allowed to talk about ghosts. Paul says ghosts are real. See, we've all got dumb shit that we think's real, and we've all got dumb thoughts and stupid ideas. And you know what happens when you remove the stupid ideas? People go to worse ideas in order to get answers for their fucking stupid idea. What you do is you learn to debate it. It's not fucking hard. Can I be honest? If you can't debate someone like Lindsay or Ben Shapiro, that's low-hanging fruit, and you have no business talking about any politics or making any decisions about whether someone should speak or not. Because if that's low-hanging fruit, this isn't even fucking trying to debate someone who, like, you know, I would find someone like, I'd say someone like Jordan Peterson or Sam Harris or Brett Wines, I'd find them quite intimidating. If you can't debate Tim Pool or a Tim Pool fucking audience person or James Lindsay, or even worse, someone who thinks James Lindsay knows what he's talking about, then you have no business talking about politics or making any fucking decisions at all, because it's not that difficult. Because do you know why? The literal fucking argument to refute James Lindsay is a fucking Wikipedia page. You just got to memorize it. It's not hard. It's not. You just got to say who funds him. It's not fucking hard. You don't, like, I don't understand why you feel like these guys are hard to debate. They're so dangerous that you can't debate them. Yeah, they're exhausting and it's pointless, but it's not pointless for the people that are watching. And this is why Ben Burgess's approach is really great. And I'm hoping to talk to him at some point, because this is exactly why he does it. He said, I don't fucking argue with you to argue with you. You're a fuckwit. I'm here to make you look like a fuckwit to the undecided. You see? And that's what you do with censorship, is that what you do is you remove the ability to make them look like a fuckwit. When someone has like looked it up and it's still fucking it's rescuable from this fucking inevitable, predictable fucking spiral into this fucking shit. And then I'm going to say that by doubling down and calling Joe Rogan all the fucking things, you're making it worse. They hate you. This is where the class analysis is just lacking. Which is that it's like, do you know that they hate you? They don't trust you. You have called them ugly, dumb, fat, deplorable, fucking all these things, stupid. They call me stupid. And I'm smarter than most of them. Imagine how they act to someone who isn't me in a conversation, and I can bring it and I can fucking interrupt and go, no, actually, you're the one who's mistaken. And here's why. If they give you a chance, they don't. They usually, but I'm just saying they pull rank. It's just the thing. But you know, I'm just, again, made me feel like shit. But this is my frustration with this whole fucking thing. Where do they go? You don't give a fuck about them. You know, you don't sit there and talk to them. You don't try to understand why most of the people that are involved in this stuff are going through stuff, or a lot of the reasons that they've fucking fallen into these things is because they've got unresolved trauma, or they've been fucking fucked over by their ex in the family court, or they've been lied to before over this fucking trans shit, or they've been cancelled for fucking stupid reasons, or they've been fired and HR gaslit them into thinking that they did something wrong rather than them just simply being surplus to needs. Okay? There's a lot of fucking anger for a lot of reasons, and for you to turn around and act like you know what should and should not be discussed and what people should and should not consume when you can't even bring it with Ben Shapiro. That's easy stuff. Okay? I don't debate him because I know his tactic and it's pointless. But I would call out his tactic of, you know, distraction and narrow focus and red herrings and cherry picking to people who are watching. It needs to be out in the open, you dumb, stupid cunt who thinks they're smarter than me. All science says so. You love science so much. Streisand effect. Counter control. What's the others? I can't think of them off the top of my head. But I'm just saying this, it's just fucking, all abusive relationships, okay? There's this dynamic of abuse, where there's the sort of parent, if you paternalism, okay, there's going to be a portion of people who fucking don't like being told what to do. I'm one of them. No shit. I know, you're surprised. But I'm just saying, fuck all of it. Stop being bastards. Just because, just because you're correct doesn't mean you can be a cunt to people. And I just, and even if there's nothing worse than thinking you're correct and being wrong and still being a cunt to people. Maybe if you listen and stop being a cunt, you might realize you were wrong. And that was the other part of my argument, which is not, where else? Well, first of all, where they're going to go. Okay, if not Joe Rogan. And I think that Joe Rogan just has the conversation. I fucking, that Tim Dillon, Alex Jones thing, it was fucking good. And it was entertaining. The guy's mad. And people who, but Tim Dillon, and, there was like an intervention of sorts there. Now, there's stuff there where you go, Joe doesn't push him enough, doesn't challenge him enough. Well, then why don't you fucking interview them and push them then, dumb fuck? Think you're better? Why don't you have the conversation if you think you can do better? This is the beauty of having an open conversation. Now, yes, we need to look after those small portion of people that are radicalized. But if you look at root cause, it's usually economics, it's anger, it's all of those reasons that I've talked about before. It's an addiction. They're vulnerable to addiction. And you want to jail people for a health problem yet fucking again. Where are they going to go? Candace Owens? Well, I suppose you want to cancel her too, huh? Cancel everyone you don't like because it's not your way. The other argument is, what if you're actually wrong? What if you go through, like I did, not thinking about stuff, being an arrogant piece of shit who won't listen to anyone else other than their little bubble of yes queen bullies, and then suddenly someone or something happens that makes you go, oh shit, I got that one wrong. That's called humility, by the way. All this empathy and humility you keep talking about, show some. What if you're wrong? And I'm a big believer in the fact that good ideas can come from anyone and anywhere. A lot of bad ones too. But just because you sit at a desk, and if anything, there's blind spots. Like, I've watched this happen. I've been to uni over the last, I went into business. I wanted to be in academia, and I just went, no. And then I fell into business, in the business world, political world. I've straddled lots of different worlds, okay? I'm not saying I own this is my story, my perspective. I have quite a bit of life experience, and also life experience as somebody who was left out and bullied by the system, not embraced by it, okay? I have always been on the sort of the edges, the periphery of those systems. And what I see is that academia is a bubble. It really, and, media bubble. Jesus Christ, these bubbles. Because even just coming out of the business world, I used to work with CRCs quite a bit, which is one of those sort of organizations that are dedicated to sort of commercializing academic research. And, because, of course, and, there was a big gap there where academics were just good faith doing stuff because it was possible and being led down the fucking path to hell by these corporations. And they just were blind to it. It's a blind spot. They just don't, again, I think when you go through university system and most things are good faith, you're not used to the cutthroat world of business where everyone will fuck you either. I mean, academics pretty brutal, but in a different way. But I'm saying, there's a sheltering that goes on there. Also being middle class and not, I don't fit in. Fuck that shit. Whatever. But, so anyway, but what if you're wrong? What if suddenly something happens and you have to question your entire fucking world? And I did. That's what happened. Why don't you learn from me? Which is, oh yeah, because Taya just went off the rail. See, again, this is that rationalization. Taya just she just fucking had a moment. Oh, that's Taya. She's crazy. Oh, Taya's just, can't focus. No, I can focus. I keep bending for you. I know what I'm doing. You just won't listen, and I have to keep fucking changing my message. I have to keep A/B fucking testing and pivoting to fucking, survive and hope that maybe you'll accept me. I've accepted they're not going to. I'm just going to do this. I don't give a fuck anymore. And that project. All I can do is what I want to do. And they'll love me if I'm right, and they'll fucking vilify me if I'm wrong, much like Joe Rogan, okay? Because you'll notice that he had someone on and he fucking got corrected. He was like, oh, okay, I wish Joe would read more, if I'm honest with you. But at the same time, I think also one thing that I find interesting about Joe Rogan that's different, I also understand his philosophy in the sense that in opposition, so this yin-yang thing, in opposition to all these fucking assholes who never shut the fuck up over their guest, okay? They talk over their guest, they know more than their guest, they correct their guest, and they fucking, badger. And it's like, well, was that an interview or was that a fucking lecture? I do that. That's why I don't really do interviews. I'm trying to learn how to do that better and listen better. But Joe, he just listens, right? And that's why people, I think, trust him as well. Because, again, these journalists who are used to just being the fucking superstar because they're in it for the wrong reasons. They're not in it for questions. They're in it for all the wrong reasons. Okay. Which is not to tell. I love people's stories. I just can't shut the fuck up. I actually just accidentally talk over people because I get excited like a puppy dog. But, my intention is never to be sort of the center of the room. I try to just, talk. I just never fucking shut the fuck up. That's the reason why I do this solo and don't do interviews, is mostly because I just talk too much. But some of these journalists are just so... hang on, I don't know who said this. The thing in business, but it's like, I can't remember who this quote was. You might be able to correct me. But it was basically, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. Well, I love it when this is part of the reason why Paul and I work so well, is because I know really lots about some things, but he makes me feel stupid about other things, like lots of stuff, like mechanical shit, building shit, all that stuff. And I go, oh, does that work? That's cool. I like that. Like he does all that kind of electrical things, and, being made to feel stupid is fucking great. It's humbling. And I think people could do with a little more humility, especially when they've been spoon-fed fucking an affirming messaging 24/7. The last thing you need is something where you're also the smartest person in that bubble. That's what happens with this influencer shit. The psychology of that is fucking... First of all, they're not your real friends. Second of all, your real friends can disagree with you and you can love them anyway, and you can call them, you can do whatever. You can have your disagreements and you're still friends. That's friends, okay? No friend worth having makes your politics, tries to control you. That's a controlling relationship. And like some people that's their natural place, but that comes from trauma and that comes from stuff that you need to deal with, and it's my fucking problem. That doesn't mean that you have the right to appoint yourself the arbiter of fact and truth when you can't even have a fucking basic debate with fucking some people like Tim Pool, Alex Jones. Fucking. Oh, and also, I believe Joe does actually push, like, most of the time. I think he just deferred to Robert Malone's knowledge because I think he just also knows when to shut the fuck up. I love the nerve of some of these, like a lot of these fucking people, and they're like, oh yeah, I listen to doctors, I listen to people who know more than me on stuff, but I'm pretty smart, but I also don't tend to not try to wander off lane as much as I can, and when I do, you can tell. But he does seem to correct, but he does also defer. He's not so fucking up himself that he thinks he's the smartest person in the room and doesn't think that he knows better than the person who's talking. And he takes the time to let them, and also a lot of his interviewing style. Again, I haven't watched loads of Rogan. I watch, when it's someone I like is on there, I'll watch it. But his style is about letting people speak for themselves and also letting them fucking giving them enough rope. Like, if people are stupid, they'll show you, right? It's one of those things. But yeah. So anyway, I'm gonna go. I love you. Thank you for your precious life seconds. People just think things through. Don't be a fuckwit. I'm gonna try. I'm wondering. Actually, let me know. I know it's like no one watching. Whatever. But let me know if you want like a mug or a t-shirt or whatever. I'm thinking of t-shirt ideas or things. I don't want to do merch. That's like, I don't have that kind of crew. But if you want me to make funny shit, I was thinking of making some funny, because I am a designer, and I thought, oh well, you know, and I have the accounts and everything. I just drop shit. It's just print full account and shit. But I can make t-shirts. I want to do one like, I want to do a t-shirt that's like, I'm not anti-woke, anti-vax, anti-this, anti-that. I'm just anti-fuckwit. I like that one. I can make an asterisk version, as much as I hate the asterisk people. But the asterisk is, excuse me, now necessary. Like, I would use it in a YouTube title. It's naive to think that you can't use that. You don't use that anymore. It's a way to stop being banned now. It sucks. It sucks that you can't. They let me back on the ad platform, and then they removed my ad platform, and I hadn't even run any ads yet because they said I had obscene language. I was like, well, I think you're pretty fucking obscene with your dark patterns. Like the APA. What are you worried about my comma for? Deal with your Nazi problem. So anyway, you can see why I make so many friends. I love you. Thank you for your precious life, sir. I will be back on Tuesday. I'm just going to do afternoons. I think mornings are just too chaotic for me, and I look like shit. And I always end up fucking, I'm always disorganized, but you know, how dare you say I'm disorganized? I'm not disorganized in terms of focus in what I do. I'm disorganized. I look disorganized because I'm always trying to change what I do, because people got to live in this shithole and try to make things work. And I'm trying to please you so that you listen to what I'm saying. I've been just constantly trying to adapt my message so people hear me. Sucks. I wish I could just be listened to based on the fact that I've got so much knowledge that nobody else has. And it's not narrow knowledge in one field. I have a fucking grandma over the campfire amount of fucking knowledge on this stuff. Joe Rogan, 3 hours amount of knowledge. Dare I suggest it? No. That would be, oh my God, I would die. Could you imagine that? I hadn't even thought about that possibility. I don't think it would happen, but it was just like, could you imagine having that kind of fucking audience? Okay, so let's go back to Joe Rogan. How cool is it that he's willing to just fucking take it for all these people? I think there's also an element that he needs to sort of do this because he knows full well that he's a lightning rod for people like me who have no fucking audience. Because I know this, and you know this. And fucking anyone who's been on Twitter for 5 minutes and had their 12-hour suspension for calling Elon Musk a cunt. Hang on, that was me. For no reason. I agree with that decision. It's kind of, but I think most of us know that is actually something that people don't realize, is that he's actually fighting it's not about him. We know he's going to be all right, and I think he knows he'd be all right. But I think that, you know, there's a lot of us who fucking don't get, like, different thinkers and shit, who will just, you know, I get that every day. I get fucking feeling like shit and feeling stupid and feeling like I'm an idiot, and I'm not an idiot. I spend a lot of time, and you should look at my Zotero, man. It's fucking more complete than your fucking undergrad bullshit. It's, sorry, that wasn't aimed at anyone in particular. That was just a snark. I just get sick of this shit. But I just get, you know, it's that book as well got under my skin, that they just see me as like deranged. But again, most of the good people have been. So let's be crazy. I'm going to go. Love you. Thank you for your precious life seconds. Be back on Tuesday afternoon. I'm going to do afternoons. Unless I feel like doing a morning stream, in which case I will do the occasional one. But my schedule will be Tuesdays and Thursdays. Thank you. The way you can help me is by telling people I exist, tell them to push through my bullshit and rambling, and that I'm worth the investment and the time, and that sometimes the most honest and truthful messages are not the most polished and not coming from people that you'd expect. I'm trying to be the best I can, and if I'm wrong and I fuck up and I'm wrong, I will correct it. But like this is just bullshit, and I think about where they're going to go. Because it's the same thing with this. The whole a big part of the fight when it comes to trans kids. Where are they going to go if they don't have you got to fix the gender clinics? Where are they going to go? If they're going to go underground again, it's that whole decriminalization and argument that applies here, which is it's like, well, what are the alternatives? Okay, there's some validity to that, which is they're going to go black market, fix the clinics, make them fucking adhere to the code of ethics and conduct that they signed up for. In my industry's case, there never was one, so we've got to create one. But that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to push so that people go, all right, we've got to fucking give this some attention. Hopefully this does that. While I'm on my shiny project that I've been doing for 25 years, never lost focus from. Anyway, I love you. Bye. See you next Tuesday. Bye. I'm going to do music and countdowns and shit. I haven't done that yet, so it's quiet. Bye.